In the season opener, 16 cars took to the track for 90 minutes at Silverstone. Nathan Jew battled wheel to wheel with Lars Watzig for half the race before pit strategy put him out front. After surviving a scare at Aintree, he went on to claim the first round in LMP2. Nobody could have predicted the GTE outcome as Alex Schleicher dominated from pole, with the competition never more than a few seconds behind. However, fuel strategy bit everyone and landed Hayden Fowler the victory, as he was the only driver in the top three to get down to pit road speed in time. The next challenge for the field is 2 hours at the legendary Circuit de la Sarthe in Le Mans, France. Race 2 of the Night Racing League Sportscar Championship starts now. Hello everybody, and welcome to the greatest ranking circuit on the planet, the Circuit de la Sarthe in Le Mans, France, for race number 2 of the Night Racing League Sportscar Championship. It'll be 2 hours today after a 90-minute thriller at Silverstone. The cars are just finishing their warm-up, and as we promised last week, it's been an exciting 2 weeks with an explosion of entries. As always happens when you're putting together a series, you get guys coming in, checking it out. Some of them leave, but most of them stay, and now they're starting to tell their friends, and we have some teams forming and people showing up and really filling out the grid. We've gone from 19 to 32 registered members, so a larger field here, and really filling out the sharp end. You're going to see a lot of switch-it drivers here today. The Red Kite team has been bringing in members, and of course this all started with the Night Racing Esports drivers. Here is the schedule if you want to get in. There are 18 spots left. If you want to be a part of this championship, we're at Le Mans today for 2 hours, and then in a fortnight to Spa-Francorchamps before crossing the pond for Interlagos, Mid-Ohio, Sebring, Daytona, and the season finale on the 30th of January at Road America. But today, it's all about Le Mans. 13.6 kilometers around the 24-hour circuit. And we've got an incredible group of drivers. Let's see who's racing. Dennis Rotter, in his first race in the KRL, puts it on pole with a 3:26.871 as the switch-it drivers have arrived in force. He lines up beside race 1 winner Nathan Jew, a 3:27.425. Andre Heinrich is inside row number 2 alongside Max Riebensteiner. Andreas Schwartz and Thomas Brommel in his first race line up in row 3. Row 4 sees Nick Minori and Paul Seeley, with Keith Rainey rounding out the grid in the Night Racing Esports colors. In GTE, Dmitry Dimchenko has arrived and put it on pole with a 3:46.341 in the Ferrari 488, alongside race 1 winner Hayden Fowler in the Corvette. Alexander Schleicher is inside row 2, lining up beside newcomer Jennifer McDonald in the BMW. Jens Wolters and Connor Seidel make up row 3, with Kevin Hensel and Mark Sonnen in row number 4. Leighton Cater lines up beside Jack Belton in the 17 Corvette, with Marcel Stroop rounding out the field in GTE. And that's our starting grid as the drivers just finish up their final preparations, and we'll be heading to the grid very shortly. The Night Racing League, a low incident point sports car championship for mid-split drivers. If you're interested in getting involved, I ratings between 1,300 and 3,000. All the drivers here except for one have A licenses. But if you apply, we'll look at your race record and you can get on the grid for this fantastic series. As we say, 32 registered members now, and we're missing a few this week. Unfortunately, we're up against a charity race that was scheduled, and some of our drivers are over there, but we've got a great field of 20 drivers here today. as the field continues to get larger, and we expect 30 plus cars in a fortnight at Spa-Francorchamps. An incredibly stout field. As you know, we're talking about the teams. We had Lars Watzik and Alexander Schleitzer running last week at Silverstone. They have brought 5 more Switch-It cars for this race. You saw all the liveries there in the qualifying grid. Nathan Jew, of course, the race winner at Silverstone, has added a couple of drivers from the Red Kite team as well. As things start to fill in here, and we're just waiting for the grid to form. We're glad to see everybody here on YouTube as we've got people waiting up to watch. Hello, everybody out there. We'll get to the race session in just a second. While we're waiting, we can look at the results from our first race at Silverstone. The points. This is a points championship after all. And Nathan Jew took the first round at Silverstone ahead of Paul Seeley. Lars Watzik, the Switch-It driver who is not here today. Dean Ellico, Night Racing Esports driver Andreas Schwartz, and Jaden Manathan-Garin rounded out the 6-car LMP field at Silverstone. The GTE field was as follows with that spectacular surprise finish we had. Hayden Fowler leads the points in GTE. Alexander Schleitzer second. Tristan Teresiano could not make this weekend, but he'll be back in 2 weeks at Spa. Connor Seidel, the winner of both exhibition races in GTE, finished 4th at Silverstone ahead of John Nielsen, Mark Sonnen, Kevin Hensel, Chris Thompson, Craig Salter, and Leighton Cater rounded out the top 10. As the cars are starting to grid, and we get ready for the start of 2 hours here at Le Mans for race number 2, the Night Racing Sports Car Championship. And here we go as everybody gets on the grid. And there's your pole sitter in the number 11, Dennis Rotter. Sitting alongside Nathan Jew, our race 1 winner. This should be a spectacular battle. The practice times all week, and let me tell you, there are 2 scheduled practice sessions for these guys. As the grid starts to roll now, everybody was donating time. We had 15 hours of practice for this event. So, just spectacular. As the GTEs wait, there's a 15-second gap, of course, for the GTE cars to the back of the LMPs. That's to maintain class separation in the opening laps. as we have 9 LMPs today and 11 GTE cars in a growing field. And as I said, we expect 10 plus more in 2 weeks, as just some special circumstances with the date and some other pre-planned events. But this is going to be a fantastic race. Buckle up and enjoy. Heinrich losing the back end of the field there. He's going to have to get himself tightened up. Timing the start is an automatic DQ, but everybody back in place here as the pace car comes up toward the 4 chicanes, and we'll get this race underway. The Porsche pace car makes the right-hand turn. And it is Dennis Rotter will lead the field for 2 hours at Le Mans. Heinrich takes a peek on Nathan Jew, who's going to defend into the Dunlop chicane. Everybody away clean. Meanwhile, the GTEs are underway as they approach the 4 chicanes, and it is slow. Hayden Fowler off the pace right away. And he's off in the background. What a disastrous start for the race 1 winner. As we rejoin the front of the grid. And making a move, Heinrich will move into second place past Nathan Jew. He's got Riebensteiner right on his tail. The toe's such a factor here. Meanwhile, in the GTEs, Demchenko has dropped to 3rd place. Race 1 leader for most of Silverstone. Schleicher in the lead. Newcomer Jens Walters in 2nd, and here comes Demchenko into the first chicane to regain 2nd place. Rotter starts to pull away a little bit here. Four of the top 5 in LMP are the Switch-It cars. As we say, they have been spectacular in testing. And what a race we're looking forward to as Heinrich takes another peek as we head into Indianapolis. Riebensteiner takes the inside and he'll make the move. Demchenko has retaken the lead past Alexander Schleicher. Everybody in the tow, although there is a gap back to Hader you see there. But the top 6 all running together. A peek by Wolters, but no move as they head into the ever-dangerous Indianapolis complex. The LMPs come around to complete their first lap. And it is Dennis Rotter in the number 11. A 3:28.8. How is that for a first lap? Into the Porsche curves for the first time. That's Jennifer McDonald in her first race in the lead. She's right on the tail of Kevin Hensel. Exhibition race winner Connor Seidel in the second of the two BMWs. Bit of a gap now forming in the LMPs as well. From 5th place, Brommel back to Andreas Schwartz as Seeley looking on the inside of Minori. Nick Minori, the Red Kite driver, first race here in the series. And Seeley will make that stick up to 7th place. Defensive move there by Ruben Steiner. And Minori, you could see back past Seeley on the next straightaway. As we're concentrating here on the battle for 3rd place in GTE. And a little bit of a run by Seidel in behind McDonald. The inside line covered. Not much use for fuel savings here today. I know for sure in the LMPs. We'll see what the GTE strategy is going to be. The air and track temperatures a little bit cooler than they were getting in testing as well. So that's why we're seeing very quick lap times out of the box as Heinrich makes a move on Riebensteiner, but it does not stick. Meanwhile, Seeley is inside of Minori again. Action all over the circuit here. Seidel right in the toe. We'll see if he's got... Doesn't look like he's ready to make a move just yet. There is Nick Minori, who has regained his 7th place in front of Paul Seeley. Seidel still in behind, but right on the tail end of Jennifer McDonald in the 99. Dimchenko starting to make a move away here. The pole sitter, who dropped to 3rd on the first lap, now with a 2.3 second lead. As the LMPs come around, we're getting representative times. You see a 3:29 by Rotter. Nathan Jew reeling that in by 4/10. As we take a look at the start. The LMPs really just dropped down into single file to get away clean. There was a little bit of a look there, you see, from Heinrich, but overall, I think just trying to get seated in on cold tires. A very cold track, which would make the first lap treacherous, but give them much more grip once they get up to pressure and temperature. The GTE start seemed fun. They got the green flag just on the left-hander. They come out of the Corvette curves. And right there, you see Hayden Fowler clipped the inside and had to take a slowdown. So he's off the pace now. That's what allowed the field to go by. Slots himself back in with the penalty cleared, it looks like. And just old tires, too much welly, and around goes the Corvette. Just an unfortunate start for our race 1 winner, who now finds himself running 11th and at the back of the field. Jennifer McDonald making a move on Kevin Hensel as we're back live. And she brings the BMW of Connor Seaton with her. As that also, now that we see it, looks like a slowdown. And then Hensel misses the braking point, so that goes wrong for the 94. There he is at the back. He's going to slot in at 7th place with Mark Sonnen coming up towards him. Everybody getting settled in for 2 hours as we hit the 10-minute mark. On board with Andre Heinrich in 4th place. This is from Paul Seeley, back to Heinrich. That exceptionally wide line there by Riebensteiner. Contrast that here. No pit road dives from the back of the field. I wonder how much time they're losing by not doing that. Car's around a 28.8 for Rotter that time as he regains the quickest time on the circuit. You can see that highlighted in blue on the top right. That's the fastest lap time currently, not the fastest lap time of the race. Although right now Nathan Jew has that 3:28.666 is the fastest lap of the race set by Nathan Jew on lap number 2. Things start to settle out a little bit up front. This battle has been raging since the beginning. We've seen them go back and forth already twice. Brommel is past Heinrich as he goes through on the straightaway. So the 4 car, with a nice little power slide, which is going to compromise his straight line speed. And Heinrich comes right back at him. And he will regain that position as we head into the second chicane. Oh, and we got some contact and around. Brommel goes around. That's going to put him right out in front of Andreas Schwartz, who will make the pass. You can see Heinrich has dropped to 6th place. Seeley is back in front of Minori and behind. So it's all happening at Mulsanne here in LMP2. On board with Brommel now as he finds himself behind the 204 of Andreas Schwartz. So it was a little bit of a light touch. As we'll get a replay here. Yeah, he just missed his braking zone, didn't he? He was in the toe. He had been in a battle there, and I think he lost track of his braking point and made contact with the back of Heinrich there. I'm sure the stewards will have a talk about that as we're back live. And we'll see if Schwartz can hold on to this. Jens Wolters dropping down the field there. I wonder if that was a slowdown in GTE. A 28.5 by Rotter at the front end here. No, Wolters is back by Cater. You see on the timing screen. So they're just having a drafting contest. Meanwhile, the battle for 7th continues. There are the two Night Racing Esports liveries. Keith Rainey switching over to team colors with all of the Switch-It cars and the red kite cars coming in. He decided to fly the team colors, and he's all over the back end of Seeley here on lap number 5. He's got the position and the inside. But Seeley with the toe on Minori is going to be able to regain or at least hold that position as we're back up to the battle for 4th. Heinrich has re-caught Brommel there. Little bit of a look, but nothing really serious. Got a replay here. Just heading into the Porsche curves. That's Leighton Cater who is off. And a significant contact with that tire barrier. Back live. Schwartz is under pressure as Brommel and Heinrich now. And contact there! Around goes Schwartz. Heinrich heavily into the barriers. Schwartz now right in this battle for 7th. And he's around again. Dirt on the tires, or did he get touched there? So Minori, Seeley, and Rainey all by Schwartz from 4th to 8th. And Heinrich has towed to the pits, so that was a big, big impact. And here it is. Oh. Yeah, that's a big, big impact there. So we'll see if Heinrich can get that car fixed and back out onto the circuit when they get it back to the pits, but not much of a hit for Schwartz as he's still out there. We'll see if he comes to the pits. No, he's going through the Ford chicanes, so that car is obviously still driving for him. But the first real impact there that we've seen in this entire series is Seeley chasing Nick Minori in the 37. And as we hear about the first incident, Thomas Brommel has been is going to be issued a warning for avoidable contact on that lap 4 incident with Heinrich. you know, he missed his braking point and hit the back end. You should be able to follow a car through a corner, so no penalty on that. But it is a warning that will carry forward if anything else happens. And now this latest incident under review as well between Schwarz and Heinrich. So as Seeley makes another move and retakes what is now 5th position with some of the chaos in front. And see if you can get a gap here. You got a very good exit out of that chicane. They've been back and forth all day. A poor chicane there for Rainey, and he dropped off the back. We're now on board with Leighton Cater, who has recovered after that. You can see the bent bonnet there on the front left of the car. As 4 Corvettes enter the Ford chicanes. Ooh, and another bump there. And that's going to be a slowdown, it looks like, for him as he pulls it over. Belton will go by. And maybe we'll see on the timing. Yes, Fowler will also get by there. As Seeley now having another look on the 37 as we head up towards Porsche. And he will make, Indianapolis. And he will make that move. As Seeley and Minori back and forth. Rainey did drop back a little bit, but here comes Nick again. Goes to the outside as we head up towards the Porsche curves. And he will make it stick. What a move. In his first race here in the KRL, Nick Minori having a heck of a battle with Paul Seeley in the 72. Rainey recovering nicely after he dropped back about a second and a half. But certainly hasn't lost the toe. We're all set up for another one as they pass through the start-finish line. You can see that 328s, mid 328s, high 328s are going to be the pace here in LMP. We're watching the gap in GTE as well. It's a 3-second lead for Dimchenko over Schleicher. Jennifer McDonald and Connor Seidel, 3rd and 4th, still running very close. But Connor looks content to run in behind and maybe save some fuel as Minori all over and getting set up for another run at Seeley here down Mulsanne. Very wide. You have to be careful of a slowdown for that. Looked like he may have gotten back to the curbing in time. But that's going to give Rainey and Schwarz a run on him. And that's exactly what Seeley wants to see in his mirrors, to try and get himself a little bit of a gap if he can. Rainey will move to 6th. He's going to bring Schwarz with him. And that demotes the 37 back to 8th place. Schwarz having a look now on Rainey, and he will not make that move. Great battles. We've got 2 obvious packs now here in LMP, 4 and 4. Brommel, with his fun, seems to be in a pack of his own. He's really lost touch with that front group of 3. These 4 as Minori does get by Schwarz here at Mulsanne. really good scrap between these guys. As Rainey right back up with the 72. How'd you like this for 2 hours? As we said, no fuel saving needed here. Tires would be an issue, I think, if we had the temperatures we had in testing. Most of the testing days were in the mid to low 30s. We did dip into the high 20s, but we're at 25 degrees right now. It is noticeably cooler here today, and that's going to help grip. That's going to help engine our horsepower, and it's also going to help tire wear. On board with Jack Belton, who is now right on the tail of Mark Sonnen. This is a battle for 6th place at GTE. These are the 4 Corvettes. Jack making his way up through there as he was at the back of this field not too many laps ago, and he's now pulled out on Mark Sonnen. He's got the inside line, but Mark's got the braking. And he will hold on to that position. Does it give does it give Fowler a run as we head down to Mulsanne? He looks to the outside, but I think that's... yeah, not a real move, just having a look. We see Schwarz in LMP has retaken 7th place as that battle continues to rage. A little bit of a crinkle you see on that rear wing. Fowler's been in the wars already, but he seems to be able to... seems to have the pace. Rainey passed Seeley in LMP. As we jump back to that battle. So Keith Rainey up to 5th place now, the highest he's been. And you can see with that pass, Minori in the background is still fighting with Schwarz, and they have dropped back now. Almost 5 seconds. So something has happened there to split those guys up. As we rejoin the GTE battle. Almost a 5-second lead now for Dmitry Dinchenko. As he's starting to pull away from that Porsche of Alexander Schleitzer. Up front, Nathan Jew now starting to make some ground here as we go on board with Nathan. He is now closing that gap. They come across the line again, a 3:28.6. You can see over 0.2 of a second, and he's now got that gap to half a second to Dennis Rotter, the first time the leaders have really been close since the start. And they are coming up on the back end of the GTE field. Cater and Struff just going through Tete Rouge, and here come the LMP leaders now. And there you can see a gaggle of GTE cars now. Nathan getting himself right up in it. And maybe be able to take advantage of some of this traffic. Meanwhile, that is Hayden Fowler still looking all over the back of Jack Belton. This is just in front of our LMP leaders who are coming back through. There we are. We've got by Cater and Struth. Next on the agenda is Kevin Hensel in the 94. As we negotiate traffic for the first time today, 30 minutes out of 2 hours complete here at Le Mans. Fowler out of the way. GTE stay to the inside. They give the racing line to the LMPs. Everybody through cleanly. Oh, and a real late break there, but no contact. Great stuff. What that traffic did do was give Belton a little bit of breathing room. He can now concentrate on Sonnen in front. He's going to make a move into Porsche. Oh! It doesn't get done as we jump back. Ooh, very wide by Mark there. And he's missed the chicane. That's going to give Belton. That'll move Belton up to 6th. Fowler comes along as the leaders are in the pits. Rotter and Jew Rubensteiner in behind as we have round 1 of pit stops here in the LMP class. Brommel as well has made it into pit road. In fact, the entire LMP field is in down to 6th now. Rotter gets away first. And here comes Nathan Jew behind him. A quick pit stop for Dennis. 27.4 stopped as opposed to 30.8 for Nathan. That translated to almost a little over 4 seconds on pit road. So a real advantage there for Rotter, and you can see that 4 seconds on the timing screen. 4.3. Schwarz and Minori in the pits now, and that puts Rainey and Seeley back up front. I think that was just qualifying positions. They were passing the pit road. Seeley and Rainey are out now. Well, he's had an eventful day so far, but Hayden Fowler is certainly racy, and he's all over the back. Is Connor Seidel has made the move on Jennifer McDonald here. Connor up to 3rd place. as the GTEs, 75% fuel cells. We'll see how far they'll get. And we're hearing from the stewards on that lap 5 crash between Heinrich and Schwarz. It's being deemed a racing incident. Schwarz was not alongside for a pass. Or Heinrich, was not alongside for a pass. Schwarz could have left a little room. I think they were racing a little hard, as the stewards have decided, and it's going to go down as an incident on both their records, but no further action, as they couldn't 100% put blame on that incident. It was really enough blame to go around, I guess is what they're saying. As we now look at what is the closest battle in LMP2 after the pit stops, and that is Keith Rainey and Paul Seeley in the Night Racing Esports colors. The teammates running together, and we're hearing from pit road that at some point during that first stint, Seeley may have had an issue in the Ford chicanes. We've seen a couple of guys go off there, Sonnen and Fowler, and some other cars with some slowdowns, but these LMPs are very, very sensitive on the under trays, well, as are the GTEs, but the LMPs very much so. And if he's run over one of those sausage curbs in the Ford chicanes, that is going to affect the top line speed. So we'll watch that closely. He's in the toe of Rainey. But we'll keep track of those lap times. We'll be getting some representative lap times here. Nobody took tires that first pit stop. As we said, the tire wear should be pretty good with these cool temperatures. As everybody's coming around, you can see the long lap times because that includes their pit stops. As Riebensteiner gets by his switch-it teammate of Alexander Schleicher in the 108. So it should be a 3-stop race for these LMPs, coming in there at the 32-minute mark. Pretty sure the GTs will be able to do this on 2 stops. As this battle of the Corvettes has spread out a little bit with the LMP traffic going through. Belton, the winner there, as he's taken 6th place. Hensel and Fowler in behind. There they are. You can see Sonnen now at the back of that field. And Leighton Cater has dropped another 2 seconds behind him. We have our first pit stop in GTE as Dmitry Dimchenko, and there's Schleicher right behind him. So they're going to come in at the 39-minute mark. for their first pit stop. Seidel will follow. Jennifer McDonald looks like she is going around. And she will momentarily take the lead in the GTE class. Walters also in behind. So a new leader, the 99 of Jennifer McDonald in the BMW M8. We expect her to be in next lap, as literally the rest of the field is in the pits. Dimchenko out. Here comes Schleicher. Seidel will get out in, well, fourth for now. It will be third. The rest of the field just now getting their service. So you're going to see a lot of jumping around as they pass each other in the pits, getting to their stalls and out of their stalls. Ooh. And there was another big bump on that curbing for Seeley. You can see a bit of a gap back there. 6 seconds to Schwartz as they get by the exiting GTE field. Taking a quick look. Fuel only for everybody except for Fowler, who we're sure had damage. He probably got some optional damage fixed there. Struth is in his pits right now. As we've got a replay here. Oh, and that is Walters going off at the Ford chicane. Ford chicane, one of the toughest parts on the circuit, getting slowed down through that first section, which is so fast, and then having to get right down to first gear. A lot of these guys take that in, and you can very easily lose that back end or overcook it and go over those curbing. As Seeley's starting to fall back a little bit, even with the draft. So we told you about possible damage on the under tray of that car. We'll see what his lap times. He was 2/10 slower than Rainey that time around. Nothing really in it. You can see they've come around. We're in the low 29s, so just a little off of the race pace of the first stint, but we're on full fuel again. As Rainey and Seeley will come by the 17 of Jack Belton. There's also, you can see on his windscreen there, he's also a red kite driver. Not running the full red that the LMP cars have on it, but the same graphics. And there are more of them coming, as we have had red kite drivers sign up. A couple of them not in today's race, but we expect them in Spa. We head back up to the battle in LMP2. McDonald is in the pits. You can see Dimchenko has retaken the lead in LMP. Schleitzer and a couple more will go by. Seidel will go by. She should funnel back out in fourth, which is where she was before the pit stops. This race started at about 5 minutes to 7 local time. here in France, so the sun will be setting, but we will not get dark before the end of this race. It's just an evening race. You can see it's the lighting's starting to change a little bit. As Jack Belton and Hensel have gotten in front of Jennifer McDonald as she's come out of the pits. So that is a net loss for the 99. A slightly longer pit stop, but nothing. I guess that's just how close it was. She stopped for 27.2 seconds, 59 seconds on pit road. Belton was 56.2 and 57.5 for Kevin Hensel. So 3 and 2 seconds gained by the two in front of her on pit road, and that has translated into a position for both of them and a net -2 for Jennifer. So she's got some work to do here in the second stint. 2 cars in front. Meanwhile, the closest, well, you got three close battles, but this one is for the LMB2 lead, so we're going to stick with this for a while. As Nathan looked pretty content to just sit back, whether there was some tire saving going on there. We know they don't really need to save fuel. But he's been a little more racy at the end of the first stint and seems to be closing that gap on Rotter here. In that half-second range. Rainey and Seeley still very close. Ooh, and a little wiggle there as he catches the grass with the right rear. No harm, no foul, a few tenths. As we go on board the 81 to start a lap at Le Mans. Back aboard here. This is the 6 of Keith Rainey looking up at Connor Seidel. Seidel now running third, and we'll have to get the gaps updated as they come around to do their next laps. But after running all of that first stint with McDonald, it's a huge gap. You can see she's lost 30 seconds to the other BMW. So we likely missed a slowdown or some other things there. As Seeley now getting racy again with Rainey. And here's Nathan Jew now, making his first attempt at a pass for the lead. He's got his nose ahead as they'll head down towards Indianapolis, and Nathan Jew takes the lead. As we approach the halfway point, Rotter, a little bit of a look. I think that was just to put something in the mirror. Nathan solid on the brakes, isn't going to fall for that. And we'll head through Arnage with a new race leader here on lap 14. Meanwhile, out on track, the 28 of Hayden. Oh dear. Speaking of missing your braking point at Mulsanne, so the fun continues for the 28. He's currently running in 10th place. And down on the inside, did Nathan get a slowdown there? He has. He's pulled over. And that will give Dennis the lead again. Dennis Rotter back out front as we start lap 15. A little bit aggressive on the exit of the Corvette curves, and Nathan Jew is back to second place. Well, after a little bit of a pedestrian first stint from these guys, I mean, they were running close, but not a lot of back and forth. They've decided to turn it up here in the second stint. Meanwhile, Andreas Schwartz has caught the back end of Paul Seeley. Here's that battle. It's been an interesting day for the 204, but he seems none the worse for wear. And he's going to make another attempt here to regain 5th position. As we jump back and forth. Not as close as they've been. Schwarz all over the back. Rady misses the right-hander, and that's going to be a slowdown for the 6 car. So Seeley and Schwarz will go through. Rady will drop to 7th. And we'll find out the top speed now of that 72 as he's got nobody to draft. Well, he's got the GTE leader here. But they'll dispatch of the 249 very quickly. And now you can see the Mulsanne is very, very empty in front. And if he's suffering from any kind of undertrade damage or lack of top speed, this will be easy pickings for Andreas. As they get through the first chicane. And here we go. Rainey just now getting past the Ferrari of Dimchenko. Yeah, and didn't even need the whole straight. Seeley already back into the toe before they get anywhere close to the braking point. So it's a long day when you're down 10K on the straightaways here at Le Mans. Just checking in on the incident points. And everybody's doing amazingly well, as you might expect. I mean, Heinrich, who is retired from the list, of course, has he's got a bunch, 10. Hayden Fowler, we've seen him having some fun, so he's up there. Knocking on the 8X. Everybody else pretty clean. We have a lot of drivers with 0 incident points here as we approach the 1 hour mark. Ooh, a nice little power slide there from the Canadian. Schwarz goes wide as we exit Arnage. A little bit of a wiggle. But still not a pass. And as all of that goes by, and I have to apologize, Nathan Jew is back in the lead. as we watch all of that fun stuff going on. The 81 has made his pass to regain top spot in LMP. And he's put up a little bit of a gap here. Rotter has dropped back 1.2. So we finally get to see what the true pace of that 81 is. Back in GTE, Jennifer McDonald has closed the gap on Kevin Hensel. And this is now the closest battle on the circuit. The way he jumps over that curb, beautifully done. Back into the 28s up front. Nathan Jew, a 28.9 last time around. 2 seconds. Near as damn it, quicker than Dennis Rotter there, so. We'll watch this gap closely. When we joined up, it was 1.2. It's ebbing and flowing a little bit, but we'll see. See if Drew can get himself clear and maybe pull Dennis out of his toe down Mulsanne. As we approach the halfway mark, we expect the LMPs, they were coming in just around the 32-minute mark for their first stop, so we're looking at another 5 minutes, which would be, well, they're on lap 17 now. I think they're likely to come in after lap 9, so we're looking at maybe 2 more laps here before we see the LMPs back in. And that gap now up to 1.5 seconds. So Nathan definitely looking a little stronger here. 28.4 to a 28.7 that last time around. Sealy has now dropped down to 7th place. We were just on board with him there. This is that battle in GTE that we've been watching. Hensel and McDonald, the battle for 6th. Here it is. This is the closest battle on the racetrack. That's Nick Minori in the background, who has dropped back. He had some damage to get fixed in his first stop, and that has dropped him right off the back of that battle that he was in. You can see more than a minute behind the 72, Paul Sealy. Nick will come through on the exit of Corvette. And will arrive on the back of a Corvette as he heads into the Ford chicanes. This is the closest Jennifer's been in a few laps here. Definitely looking racy. We'll see what happens as they come out of Tete Rouge. Meanwhile, Minori is on the back of Belton here. Ooh, a little bit of a power slide by Belton, but the Red Kite teammates get through cleanly. And here we are. See what McDonald's got down at the end of the straight here. She's right in the toe of Kevin Hensel. One hour remaining. We're at the halfway mark. Race 2 in the Night Racing League Sports Car Championship. McDonald's still behind. They seem to be closing in a little bit now on Belton, who had that moment in Tete Rouge. On board the BMW. Oh, and a little move there by Mark, or by Kevin. Open the door on the exit of the corner. McDonald will have the inside all the way down on the approach to Indianapolis, and that will be 6th place. Trying to fight back on the outside. Hensel gets his nose ahead. And he will maintain that position. So a little more top end maybe on that Corvette. Takes another look. You remember that spectacular pass at Stowe by Kevin Hensel. He knows how to stick it on the outside of a corner, and he maintains his position there. Jennifer backed out, to be fair. Not really a place you want to go through side by side. The LMPs are on lap 18. We're expecting pit stops this time around. Oh, and a wiggle. McDonald is around. Little bit of a tail wag there as they entered the Ford chicane. And that will drop her off the back of Kevin Hensel. Wolters in the pits. That's an early stop for the 24 car. That little half spin now makes this the closest battle on the circuit, as Seeley and Rainey, who have been together the entire race, still in contact with the 204. Rainey having a peek. but tucks it back in. The leaders are in the pits. There is Wolters. Not sure what's going on there. The leaders stopped. The rest of the LMPs are coming in behind. Wolters will exit the pits. Looks like there was some damage to fix there. As he was stopped for 56.4 seconds. Riebensteiner makes it to his pit. Rommel coming in behind, and Nathan Jew is away first. 27.8 seconds stopped. It is fuel only again. Rotter 33.9 seconds stopped. So again, a longer pit stop by almost 6 seconds. And that will extend the lead to 8 seconds now at the front end of the LMP field. No tires. The tire wear is exceptional as the rest of the field comes in. Rainey got by Seeley on the way to pit road. Rommel heads out of his box. And the rest of the field comes in. Meanwhile, back out on the track, Kevin Hensel now without the pressure from McDonald behind is starting to make a little bit of headway on this gap to Jack Belton in front. This the battle for 4th place in the GTE class. And you can see tires for both Seeley and Schwarz. And we're told they're going to be working on some damage here. You see both cars come down, and Schwarz is away. Seeley is going to try and get some of this damage he picked up in the Ford chicanes fixed, and that is going to drop him off that battle that's been going on all day with this car, his teammate, and the 204 of Schwarz. We already lost Nick Minori off of that, who has now made it into the pits for his second stop. Rainey going by the GTE leader, Dmitry Dimchenko, who after dropping to 3rd on the first lap has been able to maintain a comfortable gap ahead of Alexander Schleicher. There he is in the background there. You just saw coming over the crest. So not a lot of camera time for our newcomer there in the number 249 Ferrari, but we've had a lot of battles going around on the track. We'll do a field rundown here after the GTE pit stops are complete. They should be coming in. Well, might do a field rundown before that. I think it's going to be about 10 more minutes, or maybe 3 to 4 more laps before we see the GTEs coming into the pits. Hayden Fowler, who always seems to be right up behind somebody today, has had another incident, we're told. Down at Indianapolis. And that's how he dropped behind Mark Sonnen. So that's where we find him now in 9th place, behind the 3 car. They're a quick look just ahead of them. Paul Seeley out of the pits now, but he has dropped 50 seconds behind Andreas Schwarz in the 204, who with his tire stop has dropped 19 seconds behind Keith Rainey. So that battle that we saw for the first half of this race for 4th or fifth place, sorry, has now been split apart as damage and strategies have spread them apart. The gap up front, almost 7 seconds for Nathan Jew now over Dennis Rotter as well. As we'll do our field rundown, here is your race leader in LMP2, Nathan Jew. Race winner at Silverstone, and now starting to put his mark on this race as he took the lead in the second stint. A top speed of 335.9 kilometers an hour in the 81 Red Kite car. And a best lap of 3:28.454, which is the fast lap of the race. So starting to stretch his legs here in the lead over the 11 car of Dennis Rotter, pole sitter. His best lap is 3:28.596, so 1.5 tenths off of Jew. And he now finds himself 6.6 seconds off the lead. Mark Riebensteiner, the Switch-It teammate in the 14 car, runs third. He's 31 minutes off the lead. Ahead of his other teammate, Thomas Brommel, in the 4 Switch-It car. 11 seconds up the track. Then it's Keith Rainey, who has survived that 4-way battle and has claimed 5th place for himself in the number 6 Night Racing Esports car. The 204 of Andreas Schwartz now settles in at 6th place. He took tires on his second pit stop, but has a comfortable lead over the 72 of Paul Seeley, now in 7th. They took tires. I don't think it was a plan, but they were going to fix the damage on that car, or at least try to, and decided to put boots on it as well. That has dropped him almost 50 seconds behind the 204. Then it's the 37 of Nick Minori, the Red Kite driver, in his first race in the KRL. Running in 8th place. He's had some damage issues as well, we believe. And Andre Heinrich has retired from the race after 5 laps. He was involved in that shunt with Andreas Schwartz, but had heavy contact with the wall and was unable to continue. Here is your GTE race leader, Dmitry Dimchenko, in the 249 Ferrari 488. He was on pole, and after dropping to 3rd off the start as the draft was really helping everyone down the Mulsanne straight, he regained the lead and has never looked back. He was spectacular in testing all week, and he's looking great here in the race. We'll give him a little camera time. Dimitri's fast lap of this race, a 3:46.555, and that is the fast lap of the race in GTE. He has a top speed of 307.2 kilometers an hour down the Mulsanne straight. He is being chased by Alexander Schleitzer in the 108. You remember Alex was on pole and dominated at Silverstone 2 weeks ago before that incredible finish when all the GTEs had to come down for a splash and dash. Alexander is 10.26 seconds up the road in the Switch-It car. Looking very good for another second place finish here. Which, if Dimitri wins, will definitely give him the points lead here in the GTE class. The 25 of Connor Seidel in the BMW M8 runs third. Connor having a great day today as he has jumped that huge gaggle of cars he was driving in and claimed this third place. He has a massive 30-second lead over the next car down the road, which is the 17 of Jack Belton. Jack leads the closest battle on the racetrack right now. Just ahead of the 94 of Kevin Hensel there in the Corvette C8R. Kevin having a good run here. And they have finally shaken loose the 99 of Jennifer McDonald. Her first race here in the Night Racing League. Putting in a great show. But she had a little sort of a half spin in the Ford chicanes and has dropped 9 seconds off of that battle for fourth place in front of her. It's been a little bit of a rough day for the 199 of Leighton Cater. We saw him make contact with the barriers. You see that crinkle on the left front corner of the Corvette. He runs in 7th place. Ahead of the 3 of Mark Sonnen. Mark, 1 minute 25 seconds off the leader. Jens Wolters runs in 9th place, another Switch-It driver in his first event here in the KRL. And here is Hayden Fowler, who's had a very exciting day. The points leader coming into today's race. As Belton and Seidel, we're going to jump back here. We just saw a little bit of a jump there of Belton and Hensel together. But the the second place qualifier and the championship leader in GTE, as he comes into the pits here at the end of lap 18, has had a bit of a rough day and is now running in 11th place. He was just passed by the 78 of Marcel Struth, the final of the Switch-It drivers. As we'll get back to this battle now on circuit between Jack Belton and Kevin Hensel. That is your race rundown. As the GTE leaders are now in the pits. After lap 20. Actually, it would be after lap 19, wouldn't it? They probably have just started lap 20. There they are. You saw tires going on the 28 of Fowler. The race leaders 1, 2, and 3 in the pits, and Dimchenko away first. As you would expect. That is fuel only. Schleicher is away next. Also fuel only. And a good stop, a second quicker. McDonald goes through. You see her there just in the background behind Schleicher. She has been getting very good fuel mileage today. Went a lap longer than the field did in the first stint, and she's doing it again here. That'll mean a shorter third stop if they need it. So this is a battle for second place at the moment, but McDonald is going to have to make a stop. And she will take second place. Meanwhile, look back at the 204 for a second. Schleicher now in the draft. There you see Seidel in behind. He's made his second stop. Hope you're enjoying this coverage of Race 2 of the Night Racing League Sports Car Championship. Our next event is at Spa-Francorchamps in 2 weeks' time. As we said, we still have a few grid slots open. Not very many in LMP, actually. I believe there's only 3 grid slots open in LMP2. And about 10 more GTE cars could join. So if you've got an A or a B license, between 1,300 and 3,000, this is a mid-split sports car series. Contact us, PM me on iRacing on the forums, or apply to the Night Racing League. You will have to join our private Discord. That's where all of the rules, the drivers' meeting, and all communications are taking place. You can't just apply and show up. We'll get you on the grid if you want to be part of this in 2 weeks' time at Spa-Francorchamps. We're expecting a 30-plus car field as drivers who couldn't make this race for various reasons. We mentioned that charity race that's going on. They will all be back next week. 32 drivers currently signed up for this, and we expect to get a few more before the race goes next in 2 weeks' time. All races broadcast here on the Night Racing YouTube channel. We'll see if Jennifer makes it down to the pits here. It's coming around to complete lap 21. Race leader in the LMP is coming through. That's Nathan Jew. And Jennifer is not. Nathan gets by. That's a little hairy. So still getting the same mileage in that 99 car. She went 1 lap quicker than everyone else in the first stint, or 1 lap further than everyone else in the first stint. A slowdown for Rotter in the background. You can see him back there. And that is going to really open that gap up in LMP2. Clip the inside of that Dunlop chicane as well, but it doesn't look like he's anywhere for Leighton Cater in the GTEs. So that gap now over 8 seconds. But as we were saying, she got 1 lap further in the first stint and put that forward. She's going 2 laps further in the second stint. So she will drop back, but it means 2 less laps of fuel to put in that third stop. Or is she going to get to the end? Maybe that's what's going on here. Thomas Brommel coming up to the back of this. Still the closest, well, not the closest battle. Jennifer and Schleicher is the closest battle. This is the closest one of cars on the same pit strategy. Belton and Hensel as Brommel will get through. Really good opening run here for Jack. He's got some work to do to cement it, but he's running top 5 at the moment. 36 minutes remaining here. Very light fuel load, but nothing wrong with the pace on that 99 car. Started in 5th, and if not for a little half spin that only really cost a few seconds, she'd be right in this battle that you just saw there between Belton and Hensel. Keith Rainey. He is the man of the match, so to speak, along with Jack Belton here. They have both gained 4 positions from their qualifying positions. Rainey's is good. Actually, Belton will get another one in McDonald pits. So great debut efforts from these guys. Sloucher all over the back. You must realize this 99 has got to be coming into the pits this lap. Back onto the pit entrance, and there goes Jennifer into the pits. Alexander will be promoted back to his 2nd place position. And we just see Connor Seidel coming through there. And he will go through. Belton and Hensel another 30 seconds down the road, so she makes it in. On board here with Belton. And just to stir up a little bit of excitement as Belton and Hensel go past McDonald in the pits. Let's check out and see. She's on the move. 26.2 seconds, so fuel only for the 99. Just to stir up a little bit of... There is Nathan Jew in the 81, who is now only 6.3 seconds ahead of Dennis Rotter. So that gap coming down, and you can see it was 0.7 of a second. We saw Nathan fighting through some back markers there a lap or so ago. As Hensel back on the tail of Jack Belton. This actually is a battle here as well. Leighton Cater and Jens Bolters fighting for 7th. Some various issues for both of these guys, but Jens was going to make a move heading down towards the 2nd chicane. And he will make that happen. Thomas Cater. That car, I'm sure, is a little down on top end. Well, as he flashes his teammate by. A 3:28.3 for Dennis Rotter. That is the fastest lap of the race, and he's pulled another 1.6 seconds off of Nathan Jew's lead up front. So we know nobody's taken tires. Doesn't seem to be affecting the pace of the 11 car. Nathan, as we are learning, is very much into controlling his races, saving his equipment when he needs to. And are we seeing a little bit of this, or is the 81 starting to maybe struggle a little bit on older tires? So we'll watch that gap very, very closely, but a fast lap of the race for the 11 car last time around as they completed lap 25, and we enter the final half hour here at Le Mans. And off the circuit goes Jack Belton. Another one gets bit by the four chicanes. That's a slowdown, and it's going to let Kevin Hensel through. The German will move into 4th place. All that patience, not making any mistakes, and he is through. Here they come. He overcooked it into the entrance to the second chicane, and out it came. So Kevin Hensel has taken 4th place in the GTE class. He's having a great day, I have to say. Really great day. As we're now on the roof momentarily of Andreas Schwartz. This is Belton now looking at the back of a Corvette, which he hasn't had to do in a while. There you see in the background Jennifer McDonald closing in this gap. Just 10 seconds back now from this 4th place battle. If these two could do any fighting in this last half hour, that would really help her out and get her back up here. See if we can go 3 cars fighting for 4th. Waiting for the 11 car to come around. Here he is out of the 4 chicanes. What's he doing this lap? A 3:28.6, another 0.6 of a second off the lead as the LMP battle up front continues to tighten, and we'll keep watching that gap for you. It's a big gap in GTE. Dmitry Dimchenko, a 21-second advantage now over Schleicher. As off the circuit goes the 5th place car of Keith Rainey. Saves it, doesn't hit anything, but Schwartz is now right on his tail. Andreas Schwartz he's going to have a look not going to make an attempt as they head into the Porsche curves. They've got a GT up there as well, a McDonald. He just seems to be that mosquito that's on your deck on a summer evening. He's had an off, a major off, with Heinrich early on lap number 5. He's had a couple of little, not spins, but issues, off-track slowdowns. He's fixed some damage and taken tires in the pits. But he is still in this battle for 5th place. As a little deep again goes Rainey, and that allows Schwartz to get on him again as we'll head through the S's up towards Tete Rouge. He definitely looks like he's going to try and make a move here. Decides to back out. Wolter's in the pits, and that's a 3rd pit stop. I believe we've got a replay of something with the 24 car, but we're going to watch this live. As Andreas Schwartz makes that move for the 2nd chicane, and he has got his nose in front and the inside line. And Rainey misses the braking point. That's going to give. Oh, he doesn't take the escape road that's been marked out with arrows. Come on, Keith. But that's going to drop him to 6th, and Schwartz will regain the lead in that tight battle we've had in the midfield. We mentioned Wolters in the pits for a 3rd time. There he is. He's come back out. I'm just having a look. 41.6 seconds stopped in the pits. And it's a little off sequence with everybody, so we'll try and find out what happened there. Meanwhile, Schwartz has split Hensel and Belton apart. Oh, and that's the 78. Marcel Struth is getting maybe bullied off the track a bit as the lead has closed right down. I said I'd watch it, but boy, there's a lot going on. It's a 2nd now. And we're back up front with a battle for the lead. Rubensteiner and Brommel in the pits for their final stop. These guys have made their final stops. And Rotter gained 4 seconds in pit road. So that's where the lead came down when they came out of the pits. So we've got a proper ding-dong for the last 22 minutes here as the pole sitter is back in touch with the American in the 81. The rest of the LMPs now in on their final pit stops. As back up front, the 81 in the 11 with 20 minutes to decide who will win race 2 in the Night Racing Sports Car Championship. on board with Dennis Rotter. And he's got a move going on the inside. And he will take the lead. So after leading the entire first stint and then losing it to Nathan Jew in the second, here in the fourth stint and the race to the finish, Dennis Rotter has regained the lead at Le Mans. Seeley and Minori both in the pits to round out the pit stops for LMP. Both of these drivers are good on incident points. It does not look like we're going to have any drive-through penalties come in to decide this battle. It looks like a straight-out fight. Ooh, and a big jump on that entry to the Ford chicane. As Walters is back in the pits. We'll see what happens to him. Oh, a huge hit. As he entered he was in the Porsche curves there and he hit that wall on the exit to the left-hander. This looks like it could be a long pit stop. I'm looking over there. He's been stopped now for almost a minute. And they have retired the car as he had dropped down to 10th place. I'm thinking it looks like they're going to retire that car. We'll wait and see. Hayden Fowler, you can see, also having a rough day. 7 laps off the pace. With some multiple fun stuff. What do we got here? Brommel again. And that's Alexander Schleitzer in at 108 has hit the wall. That's down at Mulsanne. So that was our second place driver in GTE. I mean, he's now 22 seconds behind the lead. He was kind of out of touch there anyway, but it brings Seidel even closer. 12 seconds the gap there as Nathan Jew really puts the power down there. Or sorry, that was the wrong red kite car. I'm going to have to start really paying attention as these teams fill out. As Rotter will get by the 37. That is Nathan in behind. Of course, Minori has the white wing, or white mirrors. That's how you tell them apart. Nathan with the red mirrors. And a little bit of a gap. I'm sure Nick's not going to make this hard at all, but you can see it's a second now. He's really got to get by here before they enter the Porsche curves. Nick Minori moving out of the way. Replay's coming thick and fast here. This looks like a replay of before. Yeah, I think we caught this one live. That's where, yeah. That was where Keith missed the break point there when Shores got by him. that gap now 21 seconds between those two. This is the battle on the racetrack as we approach 15 minutes to go here in race number 2. We can confirm that Hayden Fowler and Jens Wolters have retired their cars. And right up in the toe, Nathan has a look down Mulsanne. Down on the inside, and he will retake the lead. Working lap 30, 15 minutes to go exactly here at Le Mans. Back and forth, this race goes at the front of the LMP class. Great battles all up and down the field today. The good news, you're in front. The bad news, Rotter has the toe. Looks like he's going to sit back there for now. You make a move into Mulsanne at the end of the straight, or will he wait as for the approach to Indianapolis? Very good exit on that chicane for Nathan. Using all the track, punting that little cone out. Very good under the brakes for the 11 car. He will not get a move done into Indianapolis. And this is the third race for Nathan in the championship. He did the first exhibition race when we were at Spa. He, of course, won at Silverstone in the first race of the season. As we just check back, that's Seeley coming by Mark Sonnen. But I think if you're going to sit on the back of the 81 car and wait for a mistake, you're going to need longer than a 2-hour race. So just pulling back a little, maybe cooling the tires, although that shouldn't be much of an issue here today. We're down to 19-degree track temperature. You can see a much better lap time that time around as Nathan made the pass. Dennis is right there as we head down for the long run down Mulsanne. This is now the battle on the racetrack. Looking down at the gaps, Belton is reasonably close to Hensel. It's about a 2-second gap. We'll watch that. It's been a fascinating battle in the midfield in GTE today. McDonald is closing on those two, but not at a rate where it looks like she may catch them. It's 9 seconds now. This is your battle for the lead. Nathan Jew in the 81, Dennis Rotter in the 11 car. board as we head down to Mulsanne. In front, but that shouldn't be an issue. They'll get past that before we hit to Indianapolis, I would think. That's Mark Sonnen as he's moving to the outside. Rotter. He's going to get picked here, though, by the Corvette. Or is he? Pulls the switcheroo there as they head to the left-hander, and he uses the Corvette as a pick. Nathan now all over the back end. And Rotter goes wide. Nathan retakes the lead. Best seat in the house for Mark Sonnen. Back and forth with 10 minutes to go. Meanwhile, we'll check back in here at the GTEs. There is Jennifer McDonald now, who has closed that gap to 2 seconds as Hensel and Belton have been fighting. So famous last words, I didn't think there was enough time. She is pulling in these Corvettes, and we're going to have a three-way fight for fourth in GTE. Rotter still 1.1 seconds behind Nathan Jew, as Belton has the tow. No look there. As heading up to Tete Rouge is the race lead. Very wide there for Rotter. Nathan blinking a little bit. Not close enough to have a move here, as Belton is just a little peak as they head into the Mulsanne turn. All that does is bring the 99 closer. McDonald now a second behind the 17 car. Through the Gulf curve, Belton looking again. Hansel covers the inside, but it looks like a good run. And he will make the pass into Indianapolis. Jack Belton moves back into 5th place and not out of the woods yet for the 94, as Jennifer McDonald is right there in the BMW. Kevin under all kinds of pressure here as we hit the Porsche curves. The gap's still 1 second in LMP. We'll get back to that in a minute. Very wide there for Hensel. And I believe he's going to get a slowdown for that, and that is going to give McDonald 6th place as they head into the Ford chicanes. Back up front, Rotter has the gap down to 7/10 again. As we're just coming under 6 minutes, so that's going to be 2 laps to go when they come by the line this time. And around! Rotter spins! In the Ford chicanes, it's bitten so many drivers today, and Dennis Rotter. And that's going to, well, 5 minutes to go, 2 laps to go. But that takes the massive pressure off Nathan Jew in the 81, who now looks set to go back-to-back to open the Sportscar Championship. What a battle by those two. And if nothing else, it gives us an opportunity to make sure we don't miss anything here. As McDonald now sets her sights on Jack Belton in 4th place. Just checking out the locations of everybody. Dimchenko is just coming over the line now. So we believe it's 2 laps to go in GTE as well. Nathan Jew is just now going into Mulsanne Corner and heading up towards Indianapolis. He will get the white flag, 1 to go when he comes by again. This is the battle for 4th place in GTE. Jack Belton leading Jennifer McDonald with Kevin Hensel just in the background there. The leaders are in the pits for one final splash and go. There is Dimchenko. Schleicher is in behind him. As we look up pit road, there he is. So it is a 3rd pit stop for the GTE cars. I don't believe Jennifer McDonald is going to need that pit stop. That could be why she was a little slower through that middle section of the race. We know she stopped 2 laps later than the rest of the field. Everyone has done 10 laps, only 8 for the BMW. So if Belton has to pull over here, he's done 10 laps. So that could decide the battle for 4th right there. As Dimchenko comes up behind the 78 of Struve. And McDonald is through. McDonald has passed Belton and now has 4th place. Meanwhile, the 81 of Nathan Jew has started his final lap. The lead now 12.5 seconds over Dennis Rotter. What a battle they had all day. But it looks like the American will come out on top today in race number 2. Coming around on his final circuit. Here's your race leader in GTE, Dmitry Dimchenko, as he comes down to the Mulsanne corner. And he will get his last lap started. And Belton is back in front. I gotta take manual control on these cameras. So the 17 back into 4th place. But this will be... Will he have to stop? Jennifer coming back As they continue to swap places, the BMW retakes the position. It's going to be all about, they're going to have one more to go when they come by. Or are they? Where's Nathan Jew? Nathan Jew is just come through Mulsanne. And you can see how much Jack has backed off here. There may be a fuel issue going on with the 17. The leader is just coming up behind them. If he gets passed by Nathan Jew, he will not have to do the additional lap. We know McDonald can make it on fuel. So maybe Jack is just trying to cement 5th place here. The Corvette behind him of Hensel, they're on the same pit strategy. They will have done 11 laps on this fuel tank. So maybe they need the 81 to pass them. There is Nathan now. It's been a perfect start to the season as into the pits comes Belton and Hensel. There is Nathan Jew. A perfect start to the season for the 81 as Nathan Jew wins at Le Mans. And he has passed Kevin Hensel in pit road. I believe Belton will have to go around again. Kevin Hensel, he's already taken his fuel. Hensel, or have they both? I believe they've both taken the checkered flag in pit road. There is Dennis Rotter. He will come home in 2nd place. Dmitry Dinchenko leads in GTE as he completes his final lap. Max Riebensteiner in the 14 will come home in 3rd place, the final podium position in GTE. Thomas Brommel, who had an interesting race today, will come home in 4th. As we catch up with Dmitry Dinchenko. As Connor Seidel has gone by the 108, has spun back there. That gives Connor Seidel 2nd place in the GTE class. Again, the last lap has us guessing. Back with Dinchenko. Schleicher also had to pit. You can see he's done 3 pit stops. Seidel only 2. And that is where Seidel took the 2nd place. Schleicher just had a bit of an off there at the end of the Mulsanne straight. So it's a great debut for the 249 as Dmitry Dinchenko will win the GTE class. And what a comeback for the 25 of Connor Seidel, who is going to come home in second place. There is Schleicher coming right up behind him. Seeley moves out of the way as he realizes the second and third right there. But they will come through. There's your podium. So here are your results. Nathan Jew wins in the GTE class ahead of Dennis Rotter and Max Riebensteiner. That's your podium. Thomas Frommel, Andreas Schwartz, Keith Rainey, Paul Seeley, Nick Minori round out the top 8. Andre Heinrich did not finish after that crash down at Indianapolis. The GTE class finished up like this with Dmitry Dimchenko winning from pole. Connor Seidel steals second place as Fuel Strategy puts him ahead of Alexander Schleicher. That is your podium. A great race by Jennifer McDonald, also saving fuel in the BMW to finish 4th. Jack Belton and Kevin Hensel finish 5th and 6th ahead of Leighton Cater, Mark Sonnen, Marcel Struve, and Jens Wolters and Hayden Fowler did not finish due to incidents. The LMP points look like this as Nathan Jew takes a commanding lead after 2 races ahead of Paul Seeley. Andreas Schwartz is 3rd ahead of Dennis Rotter, who is going to be moving up if today's results are any indication. The GTE class is led by Alexander Schleicher ahead of Connor Seidel, and Hayden Fowler drops to 3rd. Dmitry Dimchenko will be looking to close that gap, and we'll have Tristan Teresiano back with us in 2 weeks' time as well. So the drivers are out of their cars, and let's hear from our race winners. We're here with Nathan Jew, who's starting to make a habit of this, winner of the 2 hours at Le Mans. Nathan, what a battle you had with Dennis Rotter.
Yeah, I mean, that was incredibly close. He made me work very, very, very hard from the start of the race all the way until the very end. I mean, that was, yeah, that was some of the best racing I've ever done on iRacing, for sure.
That's great to hear. Tell us about the strategy, and there was talk about you having a really quick pit stop there at one point.
Apparently, yeah. So I had my buddy Jamie Allen spotting for me and making all the strategy decisions. And going in, we were originally thinking about taking tires, but the track temperatures were low enough to allow to just keep pushing, and they felt good the whole time. So, yeah, I mean, funnily enough, there was a lot of thinking about the strategy, but at the end of the day, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, we ran out every fuel tank, and we didn't take tires. There was no fuel saving. Just pushing to keep up with Dennis, and at some points, you know, pushing to keep him behind, which was not easy. And Dennis, I mean, I gotta say, his driving was amazing. I mean, there were a few times where me and him were going wheel to wheel with like 2 to 4 other GTEs around us. There was one moment in Indianapolis that was, well, we had a few really, really interesting exchanges at Indianapolis that were just breathtaking. I mean, the adrenaline was definitely pumping really hard.
We're also joined here by Dmitry Dimchenko, who is the GTE race winner. Dmitry, tell me about your race. Welcome to the league.
Thank you. Well, about this race, I have a few things to say. It was a very interesting race. I've never had anything like this. It was on the first few laps. I just tried to keep it cool, tried to warm the tires, and not much happened. And I got lucky with the traffic, like with the LMPs passing and slowing down behind me. So at the end, it was more like a challenge with myself on just basically keeping focused on the race and try not to make mistakes. and I had a very interesting moment at the end of the race where I knew I had to pit for one last time. It was the third pit stop I was about to make, and I was curious if the guys, Jennifer and I think Alexander, were gonna pit as well. So I thought to myself, if they are not gonna pit this time, I'm gonna lose this race. And I was just wondering where I did lost. I ruined the strategy.
Well, it was a spectacular race to watch. Thanks, guys, for talking with us, and congratulations on winning the crown jewel, maybe, race 2 here at Le Mans.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been, yeah, absolutely amazing. It's only going to get better.
Well, and that's it from Le Mans. We hope you enjoyed race number 2 here. We will be at Spa-Francorchamps in 2 weeks' time on the 28th of November for another 2-hour race here at the Night Racing League. Grid slots still available if you want to be in this. If you have an A or a B license, 1300 to 3K, contact us and we'll get you on the grid. We should have an amazing field of 30 plus cars when we reconvene in Belgium in 2 weeks' time. Well, that's it from Le Mans. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in 2 weeks.